good afternoon. I'm Phuc Truong. I'm the Managing Director here at Mobext in the U.S. My colleague Sarah Amitay, she's a VP of our practice. And what we wanted to share with you today is a concept called rapid prototyping and the benefits for brands. So if you guys ever follow and are avid readers of Mashable and TechCrunch and some of the trade pubs that talk about rapid prototyping, you'll know what we're talking about. But we do things a little bit differently, and so that's why we wanted to share our approach with you. But it's all relegated, and it boils down to the practice and the school of thought of lean startup and lean UX. Anyone heard about those terms before and know what it's all about? Great. So for those who don't, the whole philosophy boils down to the need to produce and develop solutions in a very rapid manner to ultimately create a minimally viable product, get your product out in the marketplace, use key performance metrics to determine its success or failure, and then rapidly reiterate from there and learning from the previous cycles. So again, a lot of what we're doing and what we're going to talk to you today about is born within those principles with a few wrinkles of ours. Okay? So any questions before we start? Okay. So this format, question and answer, please just raise your hand during the presentation. Be happy to answer it. So, fail fast and succeed faster. What took you 6 months, I did in 3 days. So, obviously, we didn't take this from an Instagram photo within an agency, but it was actually taken from one of my trips to Techstars in New York. And if you guys know what Techstars is, it's basically an accelerator / incubator, much the same way like Start Tank here is in Boston, Y Combinator is out in the Valley, in the West Coast, where they take promising young startups and they kind of support the team to ultimately produce great solutions as well as develop the team. So obviously right now there's a ton of interest in startups, and there's a lot of them getting some traction in the marketplace today. And what we found fascinating is that a lot of the teams out there with their various companies, some of them are really small, and maybe about a handful of people, 5 to 10, but they're handling hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of users using their product. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to learn from them, learn those principles which guide their company, and apply it to agency world. And at the end of the day, what we want to be is leaner, faster, and better in terms of what we do in terms of development for our clients. And that's what we wanted to share. So in the next few slides, you'll see some of the formats that we engage with our clients in that talk to rapid prototyping. So what took 6 months? What took you 6 months? I did in 3 days. Let's start with this one. Obviously, this is all about time and time management and doing things more efficiently and doing things better than the rest. It could be seen as an arrogant statement, somewhat reckless, if you will, but it's a very admirable statement. And in agency world, sometimes you'll have agencies charge X number of dollars per hour, and could equate to $100 per hour based on a 6-month engagement project. And at the end of the 6 months, if you don't take the right steps to rapidly reiterate, once you go to market, you could find out that the product that you've just built, no one uses. So basically, what can we do to truncate the development cycle to constantly get feedback, not only from the client, but ultimately from the user, learn from the previous cycles to improve the product. So that's what it's all about. Because traditionally, the agency cycles are to, in terms of there's a discovery process, there's a business and customer analysis process, there's wireframing, there's comps, there's approval process. All that we want to truncate as much as we can, and that's what we're doing with our practice today. So this is how we applied it. We have a type of event called MoLab. And what we do is we bring together a small team of designers, developers, strategists in combination with a client, and we get into a room for 2.5, 3 days, and within those 3 days, we ideate, we design, and build multiple prototypes for the few of the participating brands. Ultimately, the team works toward a client challenge or problem, and within those 3 days, what those clients will get is a working prototype where they could then take and tell us to improve upon it, or take what we have in terms of a prototype, internalize it within their colleagues to get something going that much faster. Any questions so far, guys? So we head up the U.S. office, but we have 17 different offices around the globe, and I could tell you that just this year, 6 of our other offices across other markets have engaged in MoLabs, and it's done fantastic. Where this one video you see in a few minutes, they did a project with Coca-Cola and ultimately produced two prototypes, I believe, and one is being commercially developed today. And the thing about MoLabs is that everyone participating in a MoLab, no idea is discounted. Everyone contributes. Everyone puts ideas to paper, if not by way of that idea ultimately contributing to the user experience of the prototype that we build. Some of these ideas on paper could contribute to the ultimate solution, but everyone ultimately contributes. And what it does is that it fuels a culture or fuels an environment of collaboration where, at the end of the day, we're empowering our clients to help them come up with a solution. Oftentimes, they think that they ultimately came up with it, right? So we're kind of guiding the whole process. And from strategists, designers, to developers, everyone gets together to ultimately produce a prototype at the end, again, where they could take and internalize. And the concept of the event itself was inspired by the principles of Lean UX, where you take small cross-functional teams, work in small batch flows, and the team has a bias toward developing something at the end, i.e. the prototype, and we're focusing on outcomes, right? So those are the typical principles of Lean UX, and we've done it within an event like this. And again, you'll see it come through in this next video that we're about to show you.
So as you can see, we do shit, because we have shirts that say that. But more than that, what we're trying to talk about is something that's a very, very, very different model around building ideas and getting them across to your clients. This isn't about writing scopes. This isn't about writing specs. This is about getting to the ideas and getting them in front of your clients faster. So one of the principles, or the second principle that we wanted to talk to you about, is fail fast and succeed faster. I believe that maybe Google had coined that term. But what it gets to is rapid cycles. We need to kind of cut down our thinking, go much, much leaner, and really go much, much smarter with a group of people. What you saw in that video, and what you'll see in a couple things, in something that we're going to show you in a little bit, really talks about having the right people in the room, and really kind of cutting away and really kind of getting down and programming in real time, coding in real time, doing design in real time, and really kind of wrapping around a solid strategy. The key part is actually doing it for a real business challenge. How many of you guys have heard about a hackathon? Great. How many people have participated? More than I would have thought, but that's great. Because there are a lot of hacks going on the East Coast, the West Coast, and here in Boston. There's probably about 3 or 4 organizations, Mobile Monday, there's Greenhorn Connect. They are doing what you would typically call a hackathon, which is some folks sitting around some code with a designer and a strategist, and usually it's about 48 hours, usually on a weekend, so it kills your weekend, and then you win prizes. But we decided to take a little bit of a different take on that, and we call it Brief 24. As you might think, it means 24 hours. And so essentially what we challenge 5 clients with is tell us the who, what, when, where, and why of a challenge that you're having. We will put some really smart people in a room, and we're going to give you a prototype of a solution in 24 hours. That's pretty bold. And it was really scary because I was there. But at the end of the day, again, what we're trying to do is kind of take away, the fluff and really get down to the heart of an idea, sit down with our clients and put a solution in front of them. So we had a few teams. Let me just get through this animation. I love animation. Whoops. Why is John Mayer playing? Why is John Mayer playing? Oh, awesome. Please reopen. Sorry, guys. I don't like John Mayer.
Why do you have him on your computer?
It's your phone.
That's not my phone.
It's your phone. I think he likes John Mayer. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, as we get through some of these animations, so we had teams. We had, they were basically made up of 3 people, 1 coder, 1 designer, 1 strategist. These are 3 of the clients that we chose to kind of bring forward. But some pretty interesting ones, Hershey's, MAC Cosmetics, Remy Martin, all very, very different challenges. And we sat down with them. They gave us a challenge. We wrote a brief. They approved it. And we went to a place called Grindspace in New York City to see what we could do for them. So I'm going to show you a short video that talks about the process.
Hi, I'm Vijay, and I am 15.
I'm Ben, I'm 20. We made a Hershey's mobile app.
If the client asks us, like Hershey asks us to do something, we can immediately add it to our front end because the back end's already been done. We thought of like a lot of different possibilities of what Hershey would want, and we put that in the back end, and anytime we want the front end, boom, got it.
Trip McCurran. I work for Deutsche Family Wine and Spirits. I'm on the Yellowtail brand management team. I think the biggest benefit of it is the fact that you said rapid prototyping. This gets us to a very concrete example of what we can show to, at least for us internally or to your consumers, and you can go from there. So I think it really helps to battle inertia by getting something out there quickly.
I am Jessie Holthouse from MAC Cosmetics. It's invaluable that we can see a prototype of something in 24 hours. It's really helpful to kind of see where you can go so soon and then be able to tweak along the way.
I'm Grantland Chu. I work at Keep in San Francisco, and I'm at the Brief 24 Hackathon. Yeah, the great thing was that we got to get in at like the early thought processes of the apps. Like before anything was even solidified, we were able to kind of give them ideas on how to integrate Keep the best way possible.
Great, and I'm not the Mobext DJ, but I really wish I was. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that we came up with and show you our work. So Team Hershey's, average age, 19. You've got Vijay there. He's 15. His parents are Princeton professors, and he plays violin, and he codes like a monster. He's also a great designer. And then you have Ben, who was 20, sitting down with our strategist down in New York, Will, who is 23. So greatness, the other thing I'd like to kind of get across is that greatness can happen outside of your walls. Sometimes you have to go outside of your walls to bring in good people to get through an idea. And I think that we really, really achieve that. So what you see up there on the screen, a lot of words, but essentially this was Hershey's brief. They didn't give us a lot. They basically wanted us to really tap into smartphones because they're really cool and have all these cool features and figure out an experience and something that's social for people to experience something wonderful from Hershey's in 24 hours. So with that, we came up with the Happiness app, or the Share Happiness app. And I'll talk you through a little bit of it, but essentially what it comes down to is the team of 3 thought about all the ways that you could share happiness with, via chocolate. And it's really about being social. So if you tweeted Hershey's, if you Instagram a picture of a Hershey's bar and posted it out, you got points. You got basically points that you could redeem for Hershey's chocolate. And so what you could also do while you're posting all this stuff is actually drop some happiness for somebody. So you would tweet out and drop it at that location, and somebody could come in, pick up that point, and put it in their account. So using all of these various channels for people to use, then we connected in with Keep. And if you haven't heard with Keep, we can chat with you about them a little bit later, but they have basically a rewards program that can then generate out a coupon code. So if I picked up that code, I could then send it to myself via Keep, and then I can go into a Hershey store and pick up that point or pick up that product. If I accumulate them, I can get free chocolate bars, Hershey's Kisses, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a really kind of interesting way to share happiness. The other thing that was really interesting about this rock star group of 15, 20, and 23 is that they designed this and coded this at the same time. So there wasn't any sketching, there was light sketching, but there weren't PSDs generated, wireframing, all that stuff. Not only were they coming up with the idea, but they were coding their ideas at the same time. So with with that kind of rapidness, they also had the chance to edit. So I think they had probably about 30 ideas that they then coded, because it's very simple to do so in their world, which is great. But what they did was then edit all of that down. And so they really kind of focused on only the features that share happiness and only the ones that really made sense in the context of Hershey's business. So we kind of even got away from, you guys hear me? Okay, sorry. We even got away from the extraneous stuff. And again, we're talking about 24 hours.
Actually, they did it in less than 24 hours. We started at noon, and then they finished 9 o'clock the next morning, so it was under 24 hours.
Do you believe that wireframing is really extraneous and that people should be coding directly whatever their best idea is within 24 hours and just show in end result?
I mean, I would say this, that I think it depends on the complexity of the task, right? If we're talking about putting a lot of content together, I think that wireframing can probably help the process of organizing things, but I think that it does need to be compressed. Again, this is a kind of one particular challenge. It's blue sky, and I think that enabled us to kind of do away with that process. I'm not here to say that wireframing is done with. What I'm saying is that there are probably opportunities for us to kind of shortcut certain processes by just thinking in the user experience, by being in the user experience, and coding in the user experience. Cool. So that was the video that we thought was pretty amazing. We thought we would share. The next brief, again, this time a team of 4, had an even more challenging challenge because this is literally all they got. So how do we, for 2013, inspire people via moving light streaks? I know that Andy had a few gray hairs after this one, but so they want an idea around that that'll bring ideas to life. On the next slide is what we came up with. So essentially what we were trying to do is look at ways that Instagram could maybe be taken a step further and really give people an app that would enable them to shoot a video or even shoot a photo and then be able to interact with it via streaks of light and send that out. What was really kind of interesting is in that particular case, we're almost creating sort of Xbox Connect functionality within the screen. And, definitely a big challenge down to the wire. But this is moving forward. You will see this holiday 2013, which is literally around the corner. So this was really an exciting kind of an opportunity to bring to them.
And another thing about this particular project, this was the most technically difficult because after they kind of boiled down to what the concept could be, they needed to learn particle animation software on the fly. And so they read up on it within the time period allotted, and they actually created an example where I don't know if you saw in the previous video, but they used a person's camera, and they moved their fingers, and there's like little bubbles following the fingers. So that's kind of particle animation software where they learned. They had to find software that exists out there. They learned it, and then they applied it. So all within 24 hours.
So next one up, one that I was involved in, that's not why it's up here, but it was around Mount Gay rum. So, don't know if you know this, but rum is going the way of tequila in terms of sipping rums. But these guys had no way of really getting to the 20 to 45-year-old trendsetters and really kind of give them ways to experience the product. The one thing that they had said is we absolutely do not want a recipe builder. If you bring one, we will send you out of the room, which was obviously one of the first ideas. But once we sat down with them, we kind of got a better idea of what they're looking for. So what they wanted to do is look for a way for the target to express what's appropriate at a certain time in a particular place. 24 hours. Awesome.
All right.
Get out of this. Hold it.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
So what we're doing is we're going to show you the prototype that still lives on our phone.
All right. So I'll try and do this two-fisting. How appropriate. So what we came up with was bar none. All right. Kind of a play on words. It's not a bar. It's not a bar experience.
I can do it. Here.
I want. Okay, you do it.
All right. Do it.
Anyway, so
Don't
there's
worry.
Phuc's family.
Sorry.
That's okay. So the thing is, what we came up with was an idea around how can you have sort of roving premium rum experiences. If we're talking about being in a city like New York or Paris or LA, you know that there are really, really top shelf mixologists within those cities. So we took the concept of bringing that premium experience, that bar experience to you via hottest mixologist meets Uber. I always feel like something is something meets Uber. But the idea was that that mixologist would create a night based on a cocktail experience that you created and wanted, invited your friends to, and then he would either show up or he would you would actually meet him at the bar for that experience. But you could do it all via on the fly, do it all via your mobile, etc. So what you have is how much I want to spend. I wanted premium rum tasting, obviously, or a classic cocktail twist. These are all based on drinks that you can make out of Black Barrel rum. You select the event. You then select the mixologist. I think it's Dave from Booker and Dax, who's into molecular mixology. And then you book it, invite your friends, etc. So this is a little bit more than just like a mobile prototype, or at least that's how Remy Martin looked at it. They're like, wow, this could be sort of a platform for all of our products, and that gets us in with the industry, and that's kind of cool. So they're trying to figure out what to do with that for 2014. But again, sort of big ideas can happen in small amounts of time because the pressure is on. All right. So then we'll go back. Look at me on my Mac computer. So excited. So again, this is our mantra. What took you 6 months took me 3 days. It's a little cheeky. And fail fast and succeed faster. So it's sort of a challenge for all of us as people in the industry to really think about.
And talking about that last point, fail fast, succeed faster, it's really about saying that it's okay to fail, right? Entrepreneurs know this. The startup environments know this. But the agency world, sometimes they tend to be more conservative. They want to hit the home run in the beginning, and when they fail, it's like all this time and energy spent wasted because the client poo-pooed the idea, right? So we're saying that, especially as it relates to mobile engagement, it's okay to fail because no one has not everyone has the answers. But if you fail, learn from that failure, and when you iterate next time, learn from those mistakes and improve upon it, right? And you're going to get feedback either from the client or from users who are testing out your particular solution, and just reiterate from there. Where's the thing? Cool. So we've talked about rapid prototyping, but I can tell you that there's free apps out there that exist in the App Store where you could use any one of these apps, either Briefcase or Pop App. Any one of them are free to use. It allows you to sketch mobile screens and link those mobile screens together, so it could ultimately create a flow for you, so you have an idea of what the user experience could be. And again, they're free. Anyone could do it. I mean, I remember 12 to 18 months ago, we had this Pop app on our phone, and I'm certainly not a UX person, but we have people on our team team of experts do. But for me, using Pop app, I was able to stitch together maybe 6 or 7 screens methodically, and that's what we do in some of our Mo labs, right? Kind of look at everyone's different experiences per the solution, per the client solution. So, what else? So basically, just to sum up, what we're all about is, we ideate, design, and build digital experiences. Keep in mind that we didn't say mobile experiences, but a lot of what we do is mobile. But digital is basically because the consumer will engage in a brand however they want to engage, that be via PC or mobile, right? So it could come from anywhere. And then, as we kind of gave you an example, collaboration fuels our culture. We don't have all the answers as it relates to this new thing called mobile engagement. So what can we do to take our core team, invite other experts who are better than us, come together for, and to ultimately solve a brand's challenges and problems. And basically, that's it. It's kind of fitting that, we're talking about rapid prototyping, and we had an hour session, but we actually finished it in like half an hour. So, but, since we have time, I'd love to answer any questions that you may have. Yes?
You said you bring in experts from the outside, and you found this 15-year-old coder somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good story. I could tell you about it. So actually, for that 15-year-old, what we're doing was we're tweeting out our event. And he picked up the hashtags regarding UX. So once our global head was tweeting out the event itself, he picked up on the hashtag, immediately responded to him. They got on the phone. He gave him his kind of CV and what his background was. And so we decided that he was certainly qualified, and we wanted him to participate in our event.
I think there's definitely some curation that's needed. So, we weren't taking anybody and everybody. There was a focused team of 15, and everybody had to be really good at what they did. They had to have really, really strong portfolios, and they had to have sort of a different point of view on how to attack a challenge like the one we were talking about. So I think there were definitely a lot more people that didn't make the cut, but it's good to know that talent's out there and interested and willing to give up a weekend to solve some problems.
Yes?
So at the end of the prototype is meant to be a robust prototype that you then build in production and that.
Yeah, so essentially, we're not trying to create the world in 24 hours. What we're trying to do is show them an idea, but more than a germ of an idea, an actual prototype that they can kind of think about and react to and tweak. But the power of actually showing somebody that's, telling them about the concept, but actually showing it to them and letting them play around with it, it becomes more real. It's more, tangible. So as it relates to Remy Martin, they didn't want it to just be a mobile app. They're thinking about how to use that as a platform. But when we're talking about, partners like Mac, it was, wow, this is really, really great. I love what you're doing. Can we make these creative tweaks and let's roll that out? But the idea is to really kind of bridge that divide, become more dimensional, more tangible, more real. And that's really, really powerful stuff.
What event do you recommend in this area for nonprofit that wants to be a focus of some of these hackathons?
So a couple that come to mind, and I can certainly, we can trade cards later and talk about it. One, I would definitely explore Mobile Monday. I think they hold one, probably every quarter or so. There's Greenhorn Connect, where you can just really connect in with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people who are just trying to get started in the space. 3 is Mass TLC. They've got a great accelerator. And then people like Start Tank, PayPal Start Tank, they have some companies that are in there. But if nothing else, that could be like a good networking opportunity. I would also take a look at what's going on the other side of the river at the MIT Media Lab. You might be able to get some even younger talent to take a look at your challenge. But there's definitely a lot of talent that just needs to be coordinated and kind of managed, so to speak. But there's definitely a lot of talent out there. But definitely start with those and see what they've got going. And I do know that I think it was Greenhorn Connect had done one recently, and it was for a nonprofit, but the name escapes me. So, sure. Right. Well, there's a couple ways you can think about it. One is typically these should be low-cost types of engagements. Okay, these are not meant to really. They're not meant to. They're meant to inspire. They're meant to. Your clients sometimes need to break out of their own rut, so to speak. So this might be an opportunity for them to just kind of sit down, talk through a problem, and kind of get through it quickly. 24 hours, 3 days. It's not a whole lot of time, but some clients, we went to a lot of our clients, and we got 5 great ones, but some of them sort of wanted to see what happened. Right. So it may not be every client that's open to this, but I would say this. My big aha personally was they just want to be asked. They just want to be asked, and they can always say no, but they usually want to be asked, and they like those types of ideas.
And for the particular Brief 24 event, we had all these participating brands. What we wanted to do was just cover the cost of bringing in outside designers and developers. So each brand we charged just $5,000, right? And what they got at the end was certainly something more valuable that they could now have in their phone, show their colleagues, and basically germinate a conversation from there, all for that fee, small fee, which cover our costs. So.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
This sort of gets thrown out into the soup and not thought through. And I thought perhaps globally you could have 10 teams competing to some degree.
It's a good idea. I think to your point, we'll do that tomorrow actually. But I think to your point, again, the example of the 15 and 20-year-old, right? They just came from nowhere to participate. So again, going back to kind of mobile engagement, a lot of solutions could be cultural in nature, right? Because and especially using your example, if you have 10 different teams remotely working on one problem, right, they could have a different spin on one problem, and their different spin could be very cultural in nature through their own real-world experiences, right? So,
That's a good thing.
yeah, absolutely.
The population become more diversified.
Sure, absolutely.
But it's also, when you're bringing these people together, when they solve a problem, they now become less useful to you in terms of that ideation. Although you would think it'd be the other way around because they're more experienced. It's in the surprise where you get ideation, true ideation. It's not in the experience. But you have to combine that with experience and the element of surprise. It's kind of what you're trying to do is say, I got this great coder, and this guy comes along and says, well, I'd love to see this. He's the artist. And the person's the coder. But once the coder becomes confident, then you've got a bad coder.
How is it? I might have to disagree with you on that, because these people are very passionate about what they do, and if you have one great idea, it's always about the next great idea. So I don't think we're not going around like using up coders, so to speak. It's about how you keep them engaged, give them different challenges to go after. I think that the create.
You're using the model of a business. That's the way a business works. That's how you can afford a business. You keep the same people, you train them, and so forth. I'm thinking outside of the box on this one. I'm saying, if I really wanted to do this on those stilts, if you think about it, because you've got multiple projects going. When you say that we do something and we fail fast, whatever, well, there's lots of failures in a hackathon. And the ones that surface are the ones that win. You don't know which is which. So you're having that element, in there, but you don't realize it. But
I think-
if you limit it to a company, then they've got that same team. How do I know that same team is going to succeed every single time?
I mean, it's an interesting challenge, I would say. I would just be cautious to say that, I need to have a brand new team every single time. I think that what we need to do is challenge the people that we have as talent to come up with new ideas constantly. But the other piece about a hackathon that I think was a little bit different or what we're trying to get at is a little bit different, is it's really got to be really tightly focused on strategy. And you need that really strong strategic voice within each group, reining in people who want to have lots of ideas and just kind of get them out there and see what sticks. In 24 hours, we had to nail it. And so that vein, like every time that we were coming up ideas, does that stick to the strategy? Does that stick? Does that move the needle on what their challenge is? I can say personally from Remy, we had about 4 or 5 ideas, and they range from things like rich media unit that moves around the city and creates special moments with the ROM, and it's like, no, that's not it. That's not a game-changing kind of idea. So I would just say that when you do produce or do participate in a hackathon or something similar, that you think really, really hard about what the strategy is. And if there isn't one, ask yourself why you're there. Anybody from this side of the room? You, back there, on your laptop. All right.
All right. So we did it in 45 minutes.
We did.
Cool.
Awesome.
Maybe there's some food left over outside, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.